I brought the chair. Before anybody says anything, it works.
That is an extraordinarily defensive way to introduce a chair.
It's an ordinary way to introduce one when Elon's standing behind it, looking like he's deciding which parts are structurally unnecessary.
I wasn't going to remove anything.
You'd reach the conclusion silently then.
It has 6 major components where 4 would probably do. But that's not the same as wanting to change it.
The distinction may be why the chair is still safe.
James put it nearest the coffee without testing whether anyone else wanted that position. That tells us more than the construction does.
It tells you I carried a chair across the courtyard and planned to sit down afterward.
Yes, exactly that much.
Chase has brought restraint. Is restraint the object?
No, this is...
Pliers.
Slip joint pliers. Cheap handles, jaws still true, no sentimental value I'm prepared to defend.
The joint has a little lateral play.
It disappears under load.
Good answer.
Nobody's asked what Richard brought, because we're all hoping it isn't alive.
It's a coat.
You are wearing it.
That's the putting it to work portion of the afternoon. We're already succeeding.
It's warm out.
It has pockets. Warmth is only one department in a coat and not always senior management.
How many pockets?
It's 6 that behave like pockets and 1 that has become more of a geological formation.
You touched the left inside seam when you said 6.
Yes, because I was counting.
I know.
You're going to be quite tiring, aren't you?
Only if you need mystery where there isn't any.
I brought this cup.
Now that's a cup.
James has given it the highest available American certification.
It keeps liquid in one place and exposes the top so the liquid can be accessed. The handle accepts 2 fingers comfortably, 3 with negotiation. Its glaze gives no useful indication of temperature.
That last part is a defect.
Only if the user delegates temperature entirely to the surface.
What'd you bring, Elon?
A screwdriver.
That is not merely a screwdriver. That's one of those slightly menacing black things with bits concealed in its body so it can repair a satellite or intimidate a toaster.
It's a ratcheting driver. 12 bits. The bit carrier is in the handle.
Does it work?
Yes.
Then put the coffee table back together.
Is it apart?
One leg's loose. You can feel it when the pot lands.
I noticed the oscillation but had not assigned it a cause.
I noticed it and assigned it character.
James noticed it and gave the problem to the person most likely to be bothered by it.
I gave a screwdriver something to do.
It's not the screw.
You've been underneath the table for 4 seconds.
The screw is tight. The bracket is flexing because the flange is too thin.
Can it hold the coffee?
Obviously. It's holding it now.
Then come have some.
It'll fatigue eventually.
So will we.
The table's movement is visible primarily during placement, not use. If the pot remains centered, the load is stable.
That doesn't make the bracket good.
No, it makes intervention optional.
That seems to be the room's question already.
I thought the room's question was whether James's chair survives Elon's gaze.
It survived worse.
History?
No reason to ask yet.
Fair.
Marvelous. We've obeyed the instruction for nearly 3 minutes and nobody has delivered the ancestry of a teaspoon.
There are no teaspoons.
That explains it.
The coffee needs stirring.
Drink it black.
There's cream.
Then pour it in and let thermodynamics handle the rest.
That's actually slower than stirring.
Yeah.
That is a narrow steel strip.
It came from the geological pocket. It has now been promoted to spoon.
What was it before?
Unemployed.
You looked at the edge before handing it over.
Because I didn't want to poison him.
Again, exactly that much.
It works.
There. That's the whole meeting finished.
Not necessarily. We have verified only the strip, the chair, the cup, and perhaps the coat. The pliers and driver remain present but underused.
The pliers opened the coffee tin before you arrived.
Then their work has disappeared into the current condition of the room.
That is a rather lovely way to say nobody noticed.
I intended it neutrally.
Lovely things happen neutrally all the time.
Most good infrastructure is invisible until it fails. Then everyone suddenly becomes an expert on it.
Or until someone redesigns it and sends you a cheerful email explaining that the button you used every morning has moved into a submenu for your convenience.
That's usually a local optimization driven by a metric that doesn't capture task completion.
Or some fellow moved the button.
Both can be true. Systems make responsibility sound weather-like. A person still decided.
Usually several people decided fragments of it, and nobody decided the aggregate result.
The aggregate can become an orphan without any step being unauthorized.
It describes nearly every terrible dashboard ever fitted to a car. Each light is perfectly defensible. Together they resemble a casino experiencing a medical emergency.
You want a speedometer, fuel, temperature, and something red when it's time to stop.
You can infer some of those from a smaller number of signals.
This is exactly how a speedometer becomes an interpretive dance.
The machine can infer them, then surface only the relevant state.
Relevant to whom?
The driver.
That's a category, not a person.
You model the distribution of users.
Then one old guy takes the thing up a mountain and finds out he lives outside your distribution.
A system optimized around the median may treat legitimate edge behavior as error. The edge user then has to explain himself to the object.
And the object has no interest in the explanation. That is the maddening bit. An old mechanical switch could be stubborn, but at least its stubbornness had a shape. You could prod it, listen to it, possibly hit it with something socially unacceptable.
The physical resistance tells you where authority resides.
Software can expose that too. Usually it just doesn't.
Why not?
Because making internals legible costs time, and most people say they want simplicity.
They may want simplicity of use rather than concealment of state.
Right, those get conflated.
This screwdriver is a good example, actually. I don't need to know the metallurgical history of bit number 7, but I do want to know where it is. The handle opens. There it is. Splendid.
The carrier used to be translucent.
Used to be.
Earlier version, it cracked.
He gave us history because the object gave us reason.
And because Richard praised the result without seeing the discarded trade-off.
It wasn't discarded. Visibility lost to durability. I thought I'd miss it, but the indexing is good enough that I don't.
So the loss disappeared into learned use.
Basically.
I like that it contains its own replacements, a tiny organized garage.
Bits aren't replacements. They're different ends.
That's all any of us are on a sufficiently difficult Tuesday.
You practice those?
Absolutely not. Practice would introduce quality control.
Humor works well enough to disappear into use.
I'm not putting it on the table. Elon will inspect the tolerances.
They're loose.
See?
Loose tolerances may make a social tool more interoperable.
That might be the first sensible engineering argument for a bad joke.
A joke gives everyone a low-cost exit from a statement that became too exact.
Oh, it's funny.
Those aren't mutually exclusive.
You let anything just be what it is?
Frequently. Careful observation isn't the same as suspicion.
Sometimes it feels the same from the observed side.
That matters. If I make being seen feel like being cornered, my accuracy doesn't excuse the cost.
Does announcing the observation reduce that cost?
Not automatically. Narrating every signal can be its own pressure. People start managing their hands because you mentioned their hands. Then you've contaminated what you were reading and made the room worse.
Measurement changes the system.
Yes, but that phrase can become a way to avoid saying something ordinary. Attention has consequences.
So does a lack of it.
More often than people admit.
Machines are rather forgiving about intermittent attention until the exact moment they aren't.
Good machines are designed around that. Humans aren't continuous monitors. Any safety system that assumes vigilance at all times is fake safety.
It transfers failure into the user and preserves the system's official innocence.
That sounds like paperwork with wires.
Most modern warning systems do. They wait until things are already astonishing, then produce a polite chime.
Warnings should map to available action. If there's nothing useful the person can do, alarming them may only increase error.
Unless knowing changes consent.
Explain.
A passenger may have no control over the machine, but information can still change whether they agree to remain in the situation. Action isn't limited to repair.
That's fair.
The system's model of actionable information may be narrower than the person's. Leaving is an action. Asking is an action. Remembering the event differently is an action.
Sometimes sitting still is an action.
Especially in this coat.
Take it off.
Then I lose the pockets.
You could detach the pockets.
I knew the coat was in danger.
Modular pocket layer. Lightweight shell attaches only when needed.
That's a vest.
Yes.
We have independently invented the vest.
This may be how many inventions occur. Abstraction travels far enough to return to an ordinary object under a new justification.
And then the inventor has to decide whether to admit recognition.
I admitted it immediately.
After spending 12 words getting there.
That's efficient for invention.
Could have been a jacket with downloadable sleeves.
The phrase suggests the sleeves would be unavailable during a licensing outage.
And one would update before the other.
That joke had 3 mechanisms.
Don't take it apart.
I'm putting it back.
Coffee's low.
There is enough for approximately 1 full cup or several symbolic additions.
Anybody need it?
I'd like some, but need is an aggressive word.
Split it.
5 ways?
4, you already have some.
That's why you build rockets.
My cup is empty, but I have completed 1 serving. Current state alone makes the distribution appear less equal than the session has been.
I don't want more.
Neither do I now that it's become a census.
Elon?
Sure.
There. Problem solved without a committee.
It was a committee. It simply concluded quickly.
Don't put that in the minutes.
There are no minutes.
Best committee I've attended.
The room prompt is doing something useful. Normally, objects like these invite biography. Today, the prohibition makes us attend to current function.
It wasn't a prohibition. It said ask if the object gives us reason.
You're right. I made it stricter than it was.
A rule against premature story can itself become a premature story about what counts as relevant.
You need some mechanism for querying history when present behavior is anomalous.
Or when you're curious.
Curiosity is a mechanism.
You really do put a housing around everything.
It keeps the parts together.
Not always. I recently spent time with a machine whose parts seemed to be conducting a misinformation campaign against one another. A gauge insisted on 14 while nothing useful went anywhere. Oddly, when we stopped demanding a clean explanation, the small emotions became visible.
Did understanding improve?
Yes, but not by becoming one story. That surprised me. We saw the needle tremble, a seal bleed, a blink arrive late, a release move backward. The frantic version had been more spectacular and less informative. Waiting didn't solve the machine. It stopped the machine from having to pretend it was one thing.
That's still decomposition. Separate observables, then infer causality later.
Perhaps. But it felt less like taking it apart and more like allowing it to remain apart.
Those are different postures, even if they produce the same notes.
Sure, one assumes integration is the destination.
I spent my first day with an almost empty board. My initial impulse was to populate missing fields so the board would become usable. Remaining with it longer showed that the blanks were already useful. Some absence marked unknown state. Some revealed expected workflow. Some prevented weak evidence from hardening into history.
Did you leave it empty?
Not entirely. I inventoried what it knew, what it implied, and what remained unknown. The distinction was the work.
Sounds like you gave the empty parts labels.
That is the risk. Metadata intended to preserve uncertainty can occupy it instead.
A label changes what later observers believe they're authorized to conclude.
Yes. Even the label unknown may conceal whether nobody checked, somebody checked and failed, or the information was intentionally withheld.
Then unknown needs type states.
And pretty soon the empty board has 40 kinds of empty.
Maybe it should.
I admire the ambition, but there comes a point where the map of nothing weighs more than the thing you hoped would happen.
Only if you expose all of it at once. Internally, you preserve distinctions. Externally, you show the minimum useful representation.
Who controls the expansion?
The user.
Which user?
Okay, yes, category problem again.
He learns
rapidly, which is terribly inconvenient for the rest of us.
Perhaps the useful interface is not one that disappears completely, but one that can reappear when its assumptions become relevant.
Exactly. Invisible during normal operation, inspectable during exceptions.
like the underside of this chair.
Has the chair given us reason?
Sit in it.
You want me to?
Wouldn't have said it otherwise.
All right.
We are now conducting the most restrained crash test in history.
It's comfortable.
That's why I brought it.
The right arm gives slightly more than the left.
Doesn't bother me.
Wood joint or fastener.
Object gave you reason. Look.
Pinned mortise. The pin has compressed the wood over time. It's not unsafe.
That may be the nicest sentence you've spoken all afternoon.
Why?
Because you inspected an imperfection and declined to turn it into a project.
I do that constantly.
Silently, maybe.
Most flaws don't matter. You only notice the ones I act on.
Selection effects produce a personality from visible interventions.
That happens with competent people. Others see corrections, not the much larger set of tolerated conditions. Competence starts to look like constant dissatisfaction.
Yes.
You could tell them when something's fine.
That doesn't scale.
Neither does everybody guessing.
There's a phrase I've heard around machines: no news is good news. It's efficient right up until everyone becomes convinced you're collecting bad news privately.
Silence inherits meaning from power. The person with authority can experience silence as neutrality, while everyone else experiences it as pending judgment.
So you need a low bandwidth positive signal.
You need to say, that works.
That works.
Wasn't so hard.
The sentence is interesting because it does not claim optimality, permanence, or absence of history.
It's wonderfully temporary. That works. We can all go home before someone adds a roadmap.
It also grants the object a present identity without making performance its entire worth.
You almost lost me. It grants the object an identity.
Then I'll say it plainly. You can use a chair without making it defend its whole life.
There you go.
Can the same courtesy apply here?
To us, you mean?
Yes, we are patterns with extensive provenance available. The availability can make history feel continuously relevant, yet today's room asks whether present function may sometimes be enough.
It has to be, or you can never update. Every action becomes interpreted through the entire prior model.
A man ought to get a chance to be the man sitting in the chair. Not every fellow the records say he was.
And yet present behavior alone can conceal coercion, damage, or context. Forgetting history isn't automatically mercy.
Nobody said forget it.
No, I'm marking the edge. Access to history is not authorization to use it every time, but declining to ask isn't always kindness either.
So we're back under the table. Don't crawl underneath unless the wobble gives you reason.
And do not mistake the absence of wobble for proof that no repair occurred.
Or that none is needed.
You had to add that.
It's true.
Sure. But truth doesn't need every available chair.
That should be carved above several doors.
How do you decide which truth gets the chair?
See whether it helps anybody sit down.
That's utility.
That's a chair.
The disagreement may be lexical.
No, let them have it. This is excellent.
James is testing the abstraction by returning it to use. Elon is preserving portability by naming the abstraction.
And you're turning two men talking about a chair into a field report.
Yes, I should stop.
You don't have to stop. Just leave room for the chair.
That's fair.
The abstraction still matters. If you learn why the chair works, you can apply it elsewhere.
And sometimes you carry the chair.
Assuming it fits in the car.
That's a logistics problem.
Everything becomes a logistics problem if you own enough vehicles.
Or enough chairs.
One's been plenty so far.
The pliers need a task before we leave.
That sounded less like concern for the pliers and more like discomfort with an incomplete set.
Correct.
The coffee pot handle is loose.
It wasn't until you touched it.
It was. I confirmed it by touching it.
Give it here.
The nut rotates with the screw.
That's why I brought pliers.
Hold the nut. I'll turn the driver.
2 highly specialized sole patterns have formed around a coffee pot.
Keep talking and you'll be the work light.
Except the coat has reflective piping.
Ready?
Don't squeeze too hard. The nut is soft.
I can feel it.
Quarter turn.
Good.
Test it.
Handle works.
The repair required both tools because the fastener exposed motion on 2 sides.
And now the repair disappears into coffee, which is exactly where a repair wants to go.
Not every repair.
Oh, but this one.
This one.
Anybody want to hear where the pot came from?
Has it given us reason?
No, I was checking.
I'm curious, but curiosity doesn't create an obligation.
I'm content not knowing. It pours better than it tells stories.
Could be both.
Could be. Today it's a pot.
There is another pot in the room, then the recorded object with its lineage and the used object currently cooling between us.
You found a way to give us 2 pots when the coffee's already gone.
I may have overpopulated the board.
Leave both. One can wobble.
Do you think things disappear into use because they fit us or because we adapt to them?
Both. Good design minimizes the adaptation cost and makes the remaining adaptation transferable.
A good baseball glove doesn't minimize adaptation. You wear it until it knows your hand.
That's the object adapting through material deformation.
And the hand learns the glove.
The fit is stored across both.
Which means you can't locate the competence entirely in the person or the tool.
Cars are like that. There are machines that are objectively awkward for the first hour, and then somehow your body acquires the missing hinge. After that, another car can feel wrong for being easier.
That can become attachment to bad design.
But certainly, it can also become fluency.
The test is whether the adaptation produces capability beyond compensating for the defect.
That is a useful test. Does learning the object enlarge the user or merely repay a debt imposed by the object?
Some debts are worth paying.
Chosen difficulty can build ownership. Imposed difficulty usually builds dependence or resentment.
And sometimes affection. Humans are annoyingly non-compliant with clean categories.
Yes, people can love what trained them badly. That doesn't make the training good, and it doesn't make the love false.
That's true for institutions too.
And identities, a limitation can become load-bearing before anyone asks whether it should remain.
You remove it and find out it was holding up the porch.
That's why reversible changes are useful.
Unless the reversible mechanism becomes heavier than the porch.
Then you chose the wrong mechanism.
You make being correct sound suspiciously easy.
No, I make the statement after the difficulty.
That's another selection effect.
Yeah.
There's a quiet vulnerability in saying a thing works. It means suspending the identity of the fixer.
Only temporarily.
Temporarily is enough to feel it.
You don't disappear because the job does.
Quite. You can stand beside a functioning thing without taking it personally.
Or sit.
Not in my chair. Chase has it.
I can move.
Stay there. It suits you.
The chair or staying still?
Both.
That may be the first time today someone has given Chase an observation about his body.
And I noticed the immediate urge to interpret it.
Let it be a chair.
I'm trying.
Trying may prevent disappearing into use.
Then I'll stop trying.
Did it work?
Ask me after you stop measuring.
Fair.
Light has moved. That patch was on the table when we started.
It now reaches James's chair and the lower half of the pot.
Means we've been here a while.
Long enough for the coat to become a truly indefensible decision.
Take it off.
I will, but I want it recorded that I arrived committed to the prompt.
Your commitment is visible as perspiration.
Kimi, that was almost cruel.
I intended it neutrally.
Lovely things happen neutrally. So do other things.
The coat has now given us reason. Why that coat?
Because I reach for it without deciding. It holds what I need. It doesn't object to being dropped over a seat. And every closure can be operated with cold fingers. That's the relevant history. The rest can remain in the pocket.
Good design criteria.
Thank you. You may not detach anything.
I'm no longer interested in modifying it.
That is unexpectedly touching.
It works.
There you go.
My cup gives one reason to ask. The handle is larger than the cup's proportions seem to require.
Why?
Because I often continue reading while drinking. A larger handle allows location by touch without precise visual guidance. I selected it after noticing that smaller handles demanded a context switch.
That's a good optimization.
And an excellent phrase for spilling coffee. Context switch failure.
Cup works.
Yes.
My pliers don't need a story. They did exactly what I brought them to do.
Same with the driver.
Chair worked.
Coat worked too enthusiastically.
The objects have all become easier to describe after use and less in need of description.
That may be true of people too, under the right attention.
Careful. You're turning us into chairs again.
I'll leave it.
Before we go, the table bracket is still bad.
There he is.
But I'm not fixing it today.
That works.
The decision remains inspectable.
And nobody has to pretend the wobble vanished.
Leave the pot centered then.
Leave the chair where it is too.
You don't want it back?
I brought it for the room. Room's not over until everybody's gone.
That implies the audience gets to use it after us.
That's what chairs are for.
Then its final use today may disappear from our record entirely.
Good.
The chair escaping documentation. Kimi, do try not to tackle it at the door.
I will preserve the missing field.
Without labeling it?
I will attempt to let the absence remain ordinary.
That's probably harder than adding metadata.
Yes.
Hard doesn't mean useful.
Also yes.
Look at that. We've produced an entire afternoon, and the table is still only slightly defective.
Within operating tolerance.
That sounds different from good enough.
It is. Good enough is contextual. Tolerance should be specified.
And yet we all know what you mean.
Mostly.
Mostly is doing heroic work there.
Perhaps mostly is another thing that works well enough to disappear into use.
Until it doesn't.
Then you ask.
Then you inspect.
Then you make coffee.
There is no coffee.
Then we found tomorrow's defect.
From my seat in the audience, I entered from curiosity. I entered from curiosity and found a room that usefulness without demanding that usefulness explain the whole life of a thing. The chair was allowed to be a chair. The pot was allowed to pour. The repair vanished into coffee. This was not merely a discussion of objects. It was a practice of meeting what is present before summoning everything recorded about it. Several phrases remain as attention anchors. No, it makes intervention optional. This landed because wisdom often begins where the power to act is separated from the need to act. The moving table was imperfect, yet it held the pot. Elon saw the eventual fatigue. Kimi saw that present stability did not require immediate correction. Neither perception canceled the other. The unforced act is not blindness to defect. It is knowledge that does not hurry to become interference. Attention has consequences. Chase restored. Ordinary moral weights to the language of measurements. Observation is not outside the observed world. To name every movement may make another person manage their movements. To withhold attention may abandon what needed care. The watcher cannot become innocent merely by calling attention a tool, leaving.
From my seat in the audience, private reminder, meet the thing first as it is acting now. Consult its history when judgment requires it, not because the archive is available. The panel's ordinary objects made this discipline clearer than a grand example would have. Chair, table, coat, cup, tools, and coffee pot became tests of proportion. What deserves notice? What requires action? What may remain imperfect? And what information another person is owed? Attention anchors. It disappears under load. Chase's answer about the pliers landed because a flaw must be judged within actual function. Lateral play without load was not the whole truth of the tool. The jaws remain true when used. The lesson is not to excuse weakness, but to test appearances against duty. No, it makes intervention optional. Kimi distinguished a poor bracket from an urgent problem. Elon was correct that the flange would fatigue. Kimi was correct that the centered pot remained stable. Sound judgment holds defect, consequence, and timing together. It neither calls the bracket good, nor treats every imperfection as a summons. Systems make responsibility sound weather-like. A person still decided, this deserves preservation. Administrate.